Cosplay Tea Time welcomes you to an afternoon tea where we discuss proper tea time etiquette. The idea of afternoon tea started in the 1840s in England by Anna, the Duchess of Bedford. In the late afternoon, around 4 p.m., the Duchess would feel very hungry, but she didn't want a full meal because dinner was about 4 hours away at 8 p.m. The concept of afternoon tea grew once she began to invite her friends over, and it became a social gathering for women of wealthy status to gather and enjoy a cup of tea. Today, afternoon tea has evolved into a set 3-course luxury meal that offers savories, scones, and sweets. Traditional afternoon tea is served between 3 and 5 p.m. between lunch and dinner. High tea is a term used by the working middle class that is usually around 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. and consists of hearty dishes. Therefore, we'll be referring to this occasion as afternoon tea. When getting ready, the proper equipment includes a teapot, some sugar, and creamer. And oftentimes you might see a little tin tray or wooden tray of lemon slices for those that like a little bit of lemon in their tea. You also want to dress for the occasion. Think of your Sunday best. So that would be dresses, skirts, and blouses for the ladies, and casual slacks and button-downs for the males. No jeans. Of course, here at Cosplay Tea Time, you may see our guest and tea sippers dressed up in cosplay. That's because, Cosplay Tea Time. Our purpose is to dress up in cosplay and talk about various themes, and to do so, we dress up in those cosplays accordingly. When setting the table for tea, you want to include a teacup and saucer, as well as a spoon for stirring in your creamer, sugar, or lemons. You also want to include a napkin placed on the right-hand side. You also want to include a very nice little snack plate. And you may want to also include other utensils your guest might need for eating the savory scones and sweets as well. Also, creating place cards is a good way to make sure that folks know where they're sitting. It can avoid confusion and add the finishing touch to your table. Regardless of whether a table is square or round, it is very common to have the teapot next to the host or hostess for easy access to pour the tea for the guest. Be sure to scatter little pitchers of cream and sugar and lemons around so that way the guests can help themselves. When it is time to pour the tea, the host or hostess will hold the teacup and saucer with their left hand, and they will pour with their right hand. Make sure to not pour multiple cups at once, and make sure to leave a little bit of tea at the edge so that way folks can add cream, sugar, and lemons. Now, in the case that a tea strainer is used, unfortunately, I do not have one that best fits this occasion. However, if a tea strainer is to be used, that is perfectly acceptable. We just ask that the person pouring the tea, they hold the tea strainer in one hand while lifting the teapot and pouring with the other hand. If you wish to add cream or sugar or both to your tea, you want to make sure you use the proper spoons. For instance, this one has its own little wooden spoon. And to pour the creamer like so. When you stir your tea, make sure you hold the saucer, and you want to do a back and forth motion without touching the sides of the cup. You want to do so noiselessly, so that way you don't disturb the other guest. Think of it as a clock. You're just going from 12 to 6, and you stir just a few times. Do not tap on the edge of the cup. That is not necessary. When you're finished with the spoon, make sure you place it behind the cup. I'm still holding the saucer from when I demonstrated how to stir. However, holding the saucer is only necessary when you're standing up and drinking tea. Sitting at the table, you may place the saucer on the table and pick up the teacup, which we will demonstrate how to do that. So I am right-handed, so if you're left-handed, do the opposite of what I'm about to instruct. So what you want to do is you want to take your index finger and hook it through the handle. Next, you'll want to place your middle finger underneath the index finger, and then have your other 2 fingers supporting, as well as your thumb holding onto the handle, like so. So your index is in the handle, your thumb is usually very lightly on top, with these 2 fingers not as well as a grip, but the middle finger will take most of the weight. So, cheers. Before we move into our goodies here, I wanted to bring up that if you're brewing tea, you want to do so for about 5 to 6 minutes, or for however long the packaging or person who gave you the tea instructed for, as well as make sure that you do have one person designated to have the tea, to request folks whether they want a stronger brew or a lighter brew. So again, holding my teacup in this position, I want to make sure that I'm sipping, not slurping, that we do not put our pinkies out. I know it seems funny, but it is not proper etiquette. As well as gently placing it on here before digging into our delicious goodies. When eating, you want to use your fingers. Most of the tea food will be finger food, so make sure you're ready for that. When starting to eat, you eat from the bottom up. So you start with your sandwiches first, your savories, then your scones with cream and jelly, and then on top you have your desserts. So you would start with the sandwich, and you would eat that without the toothpick, of course. Let's take a bite. I will say, I am glad I added the cucumber to it. Since the sandwiches are mostly clear, of course you would be following the host or hostess lead, so as the host is finishing up the sandwiches, they may move on to the scones. Have some scones, well, actually 1 scone for now. I also have cute little mousy scones back here. So what this is, it's kind of a savory and a sweet, hence why it's in the middle. And what you want to do is you want to have a little bit of cream and some strawberry jelly, or any type of jelly really. You want to break off just a small piece. You never want to eat them whole, and then you just kind of dip them. A little dipping code. Just a few things about scones. Make sure you do not dip them in your tea. It's not proper etiquette. As well as making sure that you're breaking them off and enjoying them in small little pieces. Of course, as you're eating, make sure that you are enjoying your tea as well. I have a lovely Earl Grey here for anyone to pick up, like so. Making sure to sip, and if you make a mess on yourself, which is bound to happen, some of these foods are pretty sticky, and to dab and not wipe your mouth. Now, as you're starting to fill up on sandwiches and pastries and whatnot, we still have sweets to tackle, so that would be the last part. So you can just take one, and of course, and dig in. Very sweet. Now, just a few do's and don'ts. When arriving, if you have a purse, a pocketbook, or a bag, make sure to place it at the edge of your chair, or on your lap, or on the floor nearby. Do not place it on the table. We also encourage no telephones at the table, no cell phones. Let's put those away and enjoy tea. How can one enjoy tea? Usually, it's by following the host or hostess lead, by engaging in conversations. They'll be the ones to have, like little questions, icebreaker questions, maybe a few games. So of course, tea is just a luxury occasion where everyone can just sit back, take a moment out of their day to relax, and enjoy some tasty treats and delicious beverages. As our afternoon tea is wrapping up, here are just a few things to remember. First, you want to make sure that your napkin is placed on the left-hand side, and that your spoon and utensils are sitting at the 420 position. Think of your plate as a clock. It's going to sit diagonal. And if you're a guest that attended tea time, make sure to send the host or hostess a lovely thank you card for inviting you to tea. Thank you everyone for joining me this afternoon on talking about proper tea time etiquette. I hope you enjoyed watching. As always, there will be resources down in the description below, so you all can check that out yourselves. Cosplay Tea Time is on YouTube, Instagram, as well as several other platforms. Just be sure to check out the link tree. If you are a cosplayer that would like to join, or you're a little bit curious about what Cosplay Tea Time has to offer, make sure to message us on our Instagram. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, stay safe, and keep sipping away.